सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पूर्णम् अदः पूर्णम् इदं पूर्णात् पूर्णम् उदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णम् आदाय पूर्णम् एव अवशिष्यते। पूर्णम् अदः, that Paramatma Chaitanya, we recognize it as that only in the initial stages. Therefore, when the Guru Maharaj gives initiation to the student, he says tat tvam asi. Adaha means that, tvam asi. The student, when asked for confirmation, doesn't go back and say tattvamasi. That means the student has not made even the slightest of the change in the experience. Now, what is the abidance of the Upadesha Vakya? The abidance is Aham Brahmasmi. It is no more that, it is this, that verily that which I am. Until then, it is always referred to as that. How is that? That is Purnam. Purnam meaning complete. Complete unto itself. Now, whenever I say complete unto itself, if you have made a note, since yesterday that we have started, I have always been referring to this as complete unto itself. Because there are certain things which we have assumed, like we end at around 7:30. By the time you go back to your homes, it is around 8 o'clock. There is some Apurnam in the Madhya Pradesh. And you have some kind of food that goes in, and if you are lucky enough that there is somebody serving you that food, Indian hospitality, it never stops with that which when you say is enough. Ek aur inkokati. Then you have to now show, I am full, I am satiated, I am complete. But this fullness is a borrowed entity. I have taken the example of food. Only few people with their audacity claim that they are foodie. Everybody is a foodie. Who is not? So that's the easy example to understand. We feel that this completeness is through food, through wealth, through relationships. And the poets have not stopped at it. They have gone through all arenas. So much so that I feel so full in that relation कि तू मिले दिल खिले. In your presence I feel complete, I feel full. There are places, people come to ashram, immediately coming from that kind of a traffic, that kind of an environment, into this, it feels, this is what I have been searching. Swamiji, can I stay here? Within 2 days, it starts feeling incomplete. Can I have newspaper? Can I have another thing that as technology develops, when you go to a new place, you don't ask for water or Wi-Fi. You don't have Wi-Fi. Incomplete. All these things that have been borrowed, which seemingly give a sense of completeness, it is not permanent, it is transient in nature. I might feel at this moment that I am full, but within very few, if you have raised children, you know, they have just eaten food, you have removed it from the table, you have just cleaned up the kitchen deck, you come back into the hall, the children are again, Ma, something, कुछ खाने को है, अभी तो खाया था. It is that temporary. Nothing feels complete. So this, when it is being defined as Purnam, therefore specifically giving an added description that it is Purnam, it is complete, complete unto itself. It does not require anything else from anywhere else to feel that completeness. Purnam Adaha. Purnam Idam. Even that which we call as this entire creation, inclusive of every tiny bit of detail, you, me, everything included, is essentially Purnam. It's complete unto itself. A very bold declaration by the scripture. That too in the very opening remark in the Shanti Mantra. If I am supposed to understand that I am complete unto myself, which is not my experience, there are so many factors that have to go in to feel complete. In fact, every effort that I have is nothing but there is a sense of lack, there is a sense of absence. I go into different environments trying to fill that gap so that I can again feel myself complete. And these become habit, and habits become very strong, almost to a point of addiction. To that point of addiction wherein simple little things, if not provided, can leave us agitated. Why are you like this? चेहरा ऐसा क्यों है? सवेरे सवेरे क्या कॉफी नहीं मिला सवेरे, अर्ली मॉर्निंग डिड नॉट हैव अ कप ऑफ कॉफी. That can leave somebody unsettled. So much becomes the agitation that ayyo coffee illa. That can give headache. There are people when timely food is not given, they are hungry, therefore they are angry. So people call it hangry. Things that can agitate. If in a busy household, if things are not going in a proper order, that can create. My experience says that it is something other than Purnamidam. How can you claim? My experience doesn't say. My experience is a proof. The moment we argue thus, the Shastra, the Guru Parampara is smiling unto itself. Why? They will use that very logic to create a profound logic saying, that which you are running after, knowing very well that its completeness is not complete, why are you running after it? Then our immediate, I don't have anything else. At least this can give me some sense of completeness. That which I am running after, at least that will give me some sense of happiness, some sense of completeness. It may be temporary, but at least at that moment, that at least is giving me some sense. What scripture is it that also you are taking away? It is not taking away, it is giving the best alternative. It is saying that Purnamidam. Why? It says Purnat Purnam Udachyate. From that Purna, this Purna alone can manifest. Udachyate, it can manifest. Then why am I, if it is my very nature, I am that completeness, why am I looking out for that completeness? Wrong identification. Identified with the wrong thing, that which is the limitation of that which I have been identified with, I tend to exist and try thriving in that environment of identity. Identified with the body, identified with the emotions, identified with my ideas, identified with the place, identified with the things, identified with material, the kind of interaction with that material, all of it. There are habits, and that habits, because of that wrong identity in first place. So therefore, when we introduce Vedanta through the Prakarana Granthas, we start with two aspects. That which you are, that which you assume to be. It starts with Viveka. Nitya, Anitya, Vastu, Vivekaha. We have certain kind of Viveka, but that Viveka is also materialistic. I was drinking a cold cup of coffee. It came in hot. After pouring it, had other things to run to, and by the time I came to my cup of coffee, it had become considerably cold. I said, Swamiji, garam karke do. Can I heat it up again? Hot cup of coffee. Then I said, my choices are costly. What do you mean? Cold coffee is costlier than hot coffee. So I take cold coffee. The heat of it also is important. It's not just the material, how I interact with it also. It has to be in that sense. Who is demanding all of this? It is that limited Viveka in the material that we keep running. We have to elevate that Viveka. It is not hot or cold. It means we have Viveka, we have to sharpen it to a higher level. Sharpen it to a higher level meaning? It is no more the materialistic Viveka, but it is the Viveka of that which is Nitya, that which is Anitya. Simple sadhana to begin with. And what is the sadhana? That which is running after Anitya can never yield Nitya Trupti. Why am I agitated? It is because I am anticipating Nityatva from Anitya. How can it provide that? Everything that which we are running after, isn't it Anitya? Anitya meaning anything that has a beginning will have an end. Isn't it? We start at 6:30. By 7:25, the inner watch pushes you for a confirmation. So people start turning their wrist. If not, the cell phone. If not, where is the clock in this room? We are waiting for its conclusion. We are waiting for its end. Constantly the efforts are around Anitya, but internally I am anticipating Nityatva, Purnatva. As Gurudev puts it very beautifully, he says, if you have an appointment with Anitya, you have set yourself up for disappointment. It's our own wrong perception which is leading to this disappointments. I have actually no right to go out into the world and say, I am so disappointed in you. You are running after expecting that Nityatva from the Anitya. You can never be satisfied. You will be disappointed. So if the Shastra is saying you are also Purna, all of this is Purna, giving it a benefit of doubt, our pursuit should start evaluating, where is it that my perception is going wrong? Where is it that my comprehension is going wrong? Our question is, how can you be so sure that from that Purna, that which has been expressed as this creation is also Purna? What is the logic? What is the proof? So the next line says the proof. Purnasya purnam adaya purnam eva avasishyate. From that completeness, from that infinite, if it's a big if you can draw out something, that which you have drawn out has to also be infinite alone, cannot be otherwise. If you have somehow tried to pull finitude from infinite, it only proves one thing, that which from which you have taken this out also should have been finite. Because from infinite, if at all you can draw out something, it has to be infinite alone. Therefore, everything that which we see in this as creation is nothing but complete unto itself. Cannot be otherwise. Otherwise, this whole thing will collapse the moment it was created. Therefore, in the Vedantic Advaita Vedanta logic, at least in our classes, I don't have to repeat this again and again in trying to say that Vedanta is Advaita Vedanta. As explained here in this very mantra, that which is created is also Purna. It indicates only that non-dual, one without a second aspect alone. If there is somebody that has to argue that it is not, it is for them to prove that it is not Advaita Vedanta. So for all practical purposes, that which is referred to as Vedanta is only Advaita Vedanta. So in the Advaita Vedanta, what do we say? We say that that which is expressed as creation, abhinna nimitta upadana karana, is that Ishvara who is Purna unto himself. Meaning, the material cause is that Paramatma alone, the efficient cause is also that Paramatma. Therefore, every aspect of this creation has to be nothing other than that Paramatma Tattva. Purnam eva avasishyate. It cannot be anything other than that Purnatva. Now, if this much is understood, then our effort in sadhana has to be, why is it that in my experience I see only limitations, not the unlimited, not the infinite? Where is exactly my identities existing in? What am I connected with? What am I related to? Which is creating this sense of limitation. Therefore, in the Nirvana Shatkam, when we read that, all that which I am attached to, which I am not, those identities are illuminated, and all of them are not my true nature. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham nacha shrotra jihve nacha grani. Every organ of perception, action, Indian instrument, the outer world, to a point wherein it says, Guror naiva sishyaha. I mean, this boldness only our Sanatana scriptures have. Yatra vedaha avedaha bhavanti. There is no guru, no shishya, nothing of it. Even that becomes a limitation. Now what is left behind? This is called the Neti-Neti marga. Not this, not this. Because to define that which is my true nature, I have to use the limited sense of words and vocabulary. Is it? Which is not a part of my experience right now, but can be pointed at by saying that which I am not. When all of these different scaffoldings are removed, what is left behind? That which is left behind, Chidanandas Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. Adi Shankaracharya ji has done an amazingly brilliant job. Take any Devi Devata, Ishtadeva. He has written a Panchakam, Shatkam, Ashtakam, Dashakam, different kinds of stotras he has written. If you step back and look at all of this volume of creation of stotras, you would find that the first shloka is describing that, giving us a mental image of that Ishtadevata. Then all the attributes and the greatness, the grandeur of that Ishtadevata is given. The last two shlokas or the last shloka, he concludes that this which is being invoked and worshipped is nothing but that Advaita Tattva only. Whichever stotra you take. When you take, say, Ganesha Pancharatna or Ganapati Stava, he starts with the physical attributes, the description, Mudakara, Arthamodakam, Sada Vimukti Sadakam. When you go into the last, he says, this is the very Advaita Tattva. So, whichever form, it is to tune this mind towards that which is the core, which cannot be described by the words but can be pointed at by eliminating that which it is not. But for even the ability to sit and contemplate on this, the poor jiva has several layers and layers of tapa. Tapa, heat. And we have seen that heat is generated wherever there is friction. At the physical level, at the emotional level, at the intellectual level, there is a constant friction. Constantly. Vedanta is not saying, it is not at all promising that by understanding and changing your perception, the elements that can create tapa will suddenly go away. That might still persist. According to each one's own prarabdha, it will persist. But to how to stay above it and not get impacted by it at every single step of our life, that is ascertained. Therefore, the most compassionate, loving Guru here says, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May you find that Shanti from all these different kinds of tapa. Colloquially, in Telugu, when somebody is getting worried or agitated or irritated, one word that which we all use inadvertently is tapatraya padakandi. Very easily, inadvertently we use that word, but it has such a deep Vedantic meaning in it. Tapatraya. Three kinds of tapa. One of those or all of those should be creating that agitation. Kindly detach from the source of that because you are not that. Don't we say that word? Tapatraya. So the compassionate Guru here says, may those tapatraya prashamanartham tayavaram 3 times shantihi, shantihi, shantihi. If this baseline is understood, now we get into the main Upanishad. One request though, if you have this work of Gurudev's commentary, what surprises me is, this is just a small Upanishad. It is 18 mantras only. And the total number of pages that he has commented on it is from page number 69 to 155. So 69 pages is just pure introduction. It was those days when Puja Gurudev used to give the discourse. He would have, the sadhakas listening, who would have the ability to transcribe his words with the shorthand, and he would gather that shorthand because he also knew shorthand, write all of it. Such compiled is what is published as these different works. Imagine in those days, he used to go to each city, and if say for 40 days he is speaking on Ishavasya Upanishad, first 20-25 days were spent on introduction. Half of the book is introduction. So my request to you all would be, kindly pay attention to the introductory work done. One of the most illumining of all the Upanishads that Gurudev has given us, Ishavasya Upanishad introduction, is amazingly clear, simple and deep. So kindly please read the introduction to this Upanishad. Very beautifully laid out. It will give us the idea, it will give us the clarity as to what is the sadhana, where exactly am I, and how do I move from where I am to where I must be, and how does this Upanishad help me reach there. A beautiful map. The first time I read it, I was like, this is the framework. Whether you look into art of man making or art of living or self-unfoldment, any of the works, this is the basic framework which is probably drawn from one such work. Once you understand the framework, it is like mapping your sadhana. And then to consciously charaiveti, keep walking that path with that clarity as to what the framework has been given. At least the effort would start. Before you realize, sooner than later, you would find yourself not struggling in sadhana, but flowing in sadhana. So pay attention to the introduction.
Can we ask doubt in between?
Not in between, you should wait till the end. Now the first mantra, repeat after me. Om Ishavasyamidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha Magradha Kasya Svidhanam Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Isha. Isha here means the Srishti Kartaraha. Karma Phala Data. That Ishvara, Isha, Vasyam or Avasyam. You can do the Sandhi Vicheda in both ways. And in the word meaning, if you look at it, both meanings have been given. This meaning, this entire creation, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, every aspect of it is being permeated, covered by, inhabited by. These are the various meanings of, if you take Vasyam or Avasyam. Avasyam. So that Ishvara is permeating across every single aspect. In Bhakti they would say, Kan kan mein base Ram. In every aspect it is nothing but that Ishvara alone. Now when we make something, you take a lump of clay and you carve a beautiful vigraha out of it, or rotate the pottery wheel and create a pot out of it. Or if you want to take the example of your kitchen, you want to make puri. You know how many people and you know their capacities. One will have 5, the other will have only 2. Then there is somebody who will have 8. You know the capacities. Accordingly, you will take the flour and make the dough out of it. How many puris can you make? As much as the dough. The material is limited. After that material is done, khel khatam, puri hazam. Done. Beyond that there is no more, because the raw ingredient was only that much. Here, the material that which you are using, the instruments that which you are using, and the one who is making, all these three are distinctly separate. There is the dough, then you need that chakli, that wooden or whatever material it is made of, and then there is a rolling pin. There needs to be a frying pan, kadai. There has to be oil, and then there has to be a spatula to take it out, and then you have to drain it. Vichitrati vichitra, it is puri. And the first comment, too much of oil, what do you expect? At least that comment not to be made. So you put it to drain, so you need that vessel with holes. All these different kinds of instruments and the basic material, the dough. And then the effort of that individual to make it happen. The puris have to be fluffy, that it should not be like papad. Somehow, trying to make papad, by the time you serve, it becomes like a soft roti. You make puri and it becomes like papad. Then the one who is trying to do all of this, the intelligence behind is lacking time, patience, or experience, or all of the above. It has to come in a certain order. The intelligence has to be applied, wherein you should know how much is the amount of heat that has to be produced so that the oil is maintained consistently at that particular temperature, wherein the moment you throw it in, it starts floating up, and once that starts cooking on the top, then you flip it so that the top again flips, the two sides are crusted. Now in that you submerge it in. The gas inside, the air inside trapped now starts swelling up, giving you a fluffy puri. Intelligence of how to do it. All these three are distinctly separate from each other. But in this creation, Ishvara himself is the material cause, is the instrumental cause, and the intelligence behind it as well. Net result, what happens? When you make a puri, you don't become the puri. You may have grown a little fat and somebody may address you, Puri Laga, but you have not become Puri. But here, that which through the material cause, the intelligent cause, and the instrument cause, all of this being Ishvara, that which has expressed as creation is nothing but that Ishvara alone in a different form. But Vyavahara takes over, the Vyapara of Vyavahara takes over, and what becomes important is not that Ishvara, it becomes the name, the form, and the karma around it. Ishvara is not recognized as Ishvara anymore. It is recognized as that name, that form, and the karma around it. Therefore, our ancestors, a very subtle, abstract concept, very difficult to deal with. So they said, be in a prayerful attitude when you are interacting with anything in the world, that there is always a sense of respect from you to the world. But what if they treat me? Irrespective of all the other reactionary situations, our attitude towards this entire creation should be with a prayerful attitude, giving that respect, because in essence it is that Ishvara. By mistake, if a paper is down there and your foot falls on it, see, when the car is taken for the tune-up and cleaning, those fellows will put a paper on the mat. By habit. As Indians, as Bharatiya, Hindu, the first thing that we do is take the paper off. Why? Ayoyo. It's been like drilled deep in. If by mistake your foot touches somebody else, immediately you do Namaskar. Why is this habit ingrained in us? That at least you start with people have this very strong word, hate. One day I was distributing some prasada to a group of people after the satsanga. There was a little kid. I was unmindful of what was there in the basket. Whatever came to my hand, I was giving. Unfortunately, what came in my hand was a green apple. So I just gave it to that kid. I learned my lesson. Now when a kid comes, I ask, there is this many choices, you can pick one. Otherwise, if they are like Tenali Ramalinga, how about one each? Then you can pick one. Because that kid, as soon as I unconsciously gave that green apple, the instant reaction from that kid was, ew! I hate green apple. I mean, you may not want it, you may not like it, but to hate something is a very, very strong emotion. It's like, what has the green apple done unto you to hate it? You may say, I don't want it, I don't like it. Understandable. To protect us from our own inadvertent mind's reactions, it has been like drilled deep in that our attitude towards the creation should be that it should always have that prayerful, respectful attitude. Therefore, even if you do not know somebody, you say Namaste. Kuch nahi samajhte, but Namaste. At least with that prayerful attitude, with that respectful attitude, you greet others, interact with the outside with a respectful attitude, because you may be seeing a form and a name. Hidden behind all these names and forms, the essence is that Ishvara alone. Now imagine that your Ishtadevata, that Ishvara, who has created this, can appear in any form. What is the guarantee that that which you have shown no respect to is the very form that that Ishvara is expressed himself to test you? Whether it is a cleaning boy, whether it is a delivery fellow, whether it is your person bringing food for you in that restaurant, whoever be it, he, she, who he may be or she may be, doesn't matter. Our attitude should be with utmost respect. With that prayerful attitude. It is from this standpoint that we end up with a worshipful attitude towards every aspect of this creation. Everything is worship worthy. The Westerners thought, their conclusions are amazing. They thought, we feared nature, therefore we worship the rains, we worship the thunder, we worship the forest, we worship the mountains, we worship the seas and rivers. Because nature is threatening, therefore I become like a slave, like an attitude, and submit myself to that nature and start worshipping it out of fear. Because if you look into their pantheon of gods, they are very angry. They are very vengeful. Whether it is Zeus or any other form, in the old or the new. They said, okay, this also must be the same. But the crux of it was that every aspect of this creation is an expression of that Ishvara alone. Therefore, me in interaction with that creation, we as Hindus, we never had to be taught ecological mindset, ecological, saving the ecology, saving the mountain, saving the river. It was not a necessity to teach us. It is a capitalistic mindset wherein it goes wherever there are natural resources available, deplete that environment of that natural resource, and then move on to another environment until that also depletes. There is an organism which behaves in that pattern. It is called virus. It goes into a natural habitat, depletes that natural habitat of its natural resources, and then creeps into the other natural environment until it depletes it. Ours was the attitude wherein every flowing river is called mother. Krishnamma Talli, Godavari Talli, Ganga Maiya, Narmadeshwari Devi, Ma Narmada. Mountains, rivers, boulders, forests. If you, like right here when you go into the other side of the highway, you have this Pochalamma, Ganganamma. What are all these Grama Devatas? That where there is a source of water, they have not travelled all the way to Gangaji. They have seen that source of water as the very expression of that Ganga Devi, Ganganamma. The natural resources were seen with a respectful attitude, with a worshipful attitude. Why? It is the expression of that Ishvara alone. That with every interaction of human with any other form, whether it is the same species or the other species, it was out of that respectful, worshipful attitude. It is not primitivity out of fear that is being worshipped. It is from this essential standpoint that everything is that Paramatma, everything is that Ishvara, that this worshipful attitude is inculcated. When you get into a house, whether it is a newly built house or a rental house, what do you first do? All the directions are worshipped. Vastu Puja, all the directions are worshipped. May all the directions yield a blessing environment in this house. As you enter, the threshold is worshipped. The kitchen area is worshipped. Any time when the milk overflows, we say Ayyo. That day we eagerly wait for the milk to overflow. The stove is treated as Lakshmi Devi. Do you know the mortar and pestle? When you bring that in new, that is washed clean, that is seasoned, and then the first thing that you do, because that is also Lakshmi Swarupa, you apply turmeric, kumkum to both the mortar and the pestle. Every aspect. Earlier days there was no tap in the house. You had to go all the way to the nearest water source, whether it is a river or a pond. So you take the vessel and go to that river or water source. The first thing that you do is offer a worshipful prayer to that river. Arghya. And then take the blessings, bring the water, as though seeking permission from that river. For our livelihood, for our daily usage, we need this amount of water. May I carry it from you? You know, there is that My Prayers book. We have seen it for what? 60, 70 years now. In the very first few pages, before you step out after you have woken up from sleep, the first thing that you have to do, Karagre Vasate Lakshmi, and then touch the earth. offer our gratitude and apologize because we will be running around. Samudravasane Devi Parvatasthana Mandale. Every aspect is worship worthy. If as sadhana something has to be applied right from this first quarter of the mantra, recalibrate our thinking, recalibrate our perception that every aspect of this creation that which we are interacting with has to be seen, has to be interacted with the completeness that it is that Ishvara, and I am seeking the blessings for a safe interaction. Many of us, when we sit in the car or any vehicle, what is the first thing that we do? I don't know what appears is अंदर क्या चल रहा है पता नहीं है, पर at least the action. You may have observed when I come sit onto the first thing that I offer, because this is called Vyasa Pita, Vyasa Gaddi. It is not my platform it is Vyasa's Pita. So seeking the blessings to be appropriate enough for that status, so that the right words which the Vyasa Maharaj has spoken may be expressed. Every aspect of interaction. Meaning what? I become conscious of every single endeavor that is expressed out of me, consciously if done. Wrong or adharma cannot express. Unconsciously done, that is where guilt, remorse and feeling sorry for what I have done starts enveloping my day. If you start consciously, you cannot be disrespectful. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. That we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.